Love 3 Give the gift of memories of love. This is a spiritual walk with Pastor Ju Eun Chong. A few years ago, the movie Hachi, The Tale of Hachi, starring Richard Gere, premiered in theaters. Dogs are loyal animals. Once they choose a master, they follow him until death. Because of this unwavering nature, we have many touching stories about dogs. This story of Hachi, the tale. The professor lived in Akita Prefecture, so commuting to and from Tokyo University required a daily train ride from Shibuya Station to Tokyo. This dog accompanied him on his commute to and from Shibuya Station every morning and evening. Just like people, the dog's intelligence made it quite popular in Akita Prefecture, as it saw him off in the morning and greeted him in the evening. One day, Professor Ueno suddenly collapsed from a cerebral hemorrhage during class and passed away. Unaware of what had happened to his owner, the dog went to Shibuya Station to pick him up that day as usual. However, his owner didn't return until late at night. The dog went out again the next day to wait for the professor, and the next day and the day after that. Rain or shine, the dog went to Shibuya Station to pick him up, motionless, waiting for the professor to return. For 10 years. Over the course of 10 years, the dog's strength finally weakened and he died. To commemorate his faithfulness, a statue was erected, and you can still see it in Japan. This story, also known as Hachi, A Dog's Tale, was adapted into a novel, a film, and a television drama, and continues to resonate deeply with people today. Introducing the film Hachi, A Dog's Tale, the author said, the memories of the year and 8 months spent with his master made him cherish every day for 10 years. Beautiful memories can be freely mobilized, even in difficult and challenging situations, and can serve as a force to overcome reality. A wife who has lived with constant resentment and frustration in her relationship with her husband will likely have a storehouse of memories like a pile of trash. Memories filled with odor, ugliness, and filth. No matter how good the situation, the mere thought of her husband will flood her mind and heart with trashy emotions and thoughts. When life becomes that way, life becomes a chore, and everything feels like a burden. Conversely, a wife who has a storehouse of memories where everything she shared with her husband feels beautiful will, even when he commits a grave mistake, want to understand him by thinking about the past. This gives her the courage to overcome any difficulty. There's even a woman who, thanks to the beautiful memories of the 6 years she spent with her husband, continues to live diligently, even in difficult situations after his death. Beautiful memories empower our lives. They provide us with the energy to sustain us. However, nothing makes our lives more unhappy and miserable than trashy memories. Even today, we face challenges as we go through life. Every single event that happens will be stored in our storehouse of memories. Whether they remain in our consciousness or sink into the subconscious, they will remain within us. When life gets tough, they can be beautiful memories that bring a gentle smile, or they can be so miserable that they make us jump out of our sleep. Let's give ourselves many good memories. If this is true even in the relationship between dogs and people, how shameful would it be if people were worse than dogs? If someone quietly approaches someone with an empty heart, recognizes their worth, and touches their heart, they will remain loyal to that person for life. They will even jump into a fire for that person. Sim Subong's A Million Roses, Be Happy, You. A long time ago, I checked my church mailbox and found a book. Perhaps because I'm at church, all sorts of promotional materials pile up every week. But among them, a book caught my eye. It was Pastor Lee's book, Be Happy, Pastor's Wife. This book was written from his hospital bed, just before he went to God. These conceived writings were then distributed free of charge to the wives of pastors of pioneer churches across the country by Qumran Publishing and a supporting church elder. This book is a must-read for pastors' wives. It's deeply moving. The following is a confession from Pastor Lee Young-pyo. Don't be too disappointed or distressed by the conflicts your marriage has. Don't give up because of them. Even if there are conflicts, heal each other with a precious heart. When my wife left home 4 times because life was difficult, I discovered 2 problems. One was an inherent ego inherited from her parents, and the other was an ego obsessed with achieving goals. As a child, I saw my mother unconditionally surrender and live according to my father's will. She sacrificed her entire life for him. She simply lived a life of complacency. She wasn't loved, nor did she feel any sense of accomplishment. She simply lived. This is how what formed within me as an adult child was reflected in my family. My father lived according to his will, and my mother lived obediently. She lived day to day, never touching money. Now that I'm married, I see this same pattern in myself. I lived the same way as a married woman. I gave money to my brother without permission, bought books, and gave to my wife, and she didn't even know how to spend the money. I had an inner self that lived solely for me, pursuing only the achievement-oriented goal of church revival. So, I lived completely self-centered, not caring for or loving my wife. Furthermore, I set my own model, giving to the poor, and completely neglecting my wife. That's why my wife left home 4 times, saying she couldn't live like this, but I'm so grateful she endured until now. I cry. Listening to the pastor's confession, I wept with pain at the thought of hurting his wife due to habits ingrained in him since childhood. And as a man seeking to love a woman before becoming a pastor, I saw the beauty of his efforts. Serenity prayer. God, give me the serenity to accept what cannot be changed, the courage to change what can be changed, and the wisdom to discern the difference. Let me live each day, enjoy each moment, accept suffering as the path to peace, accept this sinful world not as I would have it, but as it is, like Jesus, and trust that when I obey your will, you will set all things right, so that I may enjoy reasonable happiness in this life, and endless happiness in the next, forever.